region, with elderly and vulnerable people most at risk. Some are being conned online, others on the phone or even on their doorsteps. Anna Youssef reports on those who are cashing in on the pandemic.
We're in the middle of a health crisis which has changed our day-to-day lives beyond recognition. In most cases, it's brought out the best in people. But for scammers, a global pandemic is just another business opportunity. Doorstep con artists selling fake testing kits. Online fraudsters posing as HMRC offering tax refunds. Scam texts telling people they've been fined for leaving their homes more than once a day. The number of scams cashing in on the coronavirus has skyrocketed.
Every day seems to be a new scam it's appearing to my knowledge, whether that be on social media, whether that will be actually the physical doorstep crime. It just doesn't seem to be letting up at this present moment in time. So we've had instances where bogus officials have been knocking on the door saying that they are able to do testing. So obviously at overinflated prices, and goodness knows what's actually in those testing kits. But we've also had people offering to do disinfection of the driveways and things like that. So it's just, it's like it's old scams reinvented to exploit this crisis.
And anyone can be a target.
Well, criminals are very sadly very innovative when it comes to criminal activity. So, we are seeing more crime moving online. So an increase in online fraud. There's a huge amount of scams going on at the moment. I myself, had a text saying, click on this link because the parcel you've ordered hasn't been delivered. I hadn't ordered anything.
I've been looking at some of the scams that are out there, and I've just received this email which claims to be from a supermarket chain offering me a money off voucher. What the scammers want you to do is click on the link so they can steal your credit card details. Let's press delete. Trading Standards say there's also been a surge in scams that don't reference the virus. Howard Northover from Liverpool received a series of texts claiming to be from his phone provider and asking him to update his payment information.
I've had personally 3. So I've had 2 purportedly from EE saying that they were unable to generate my bill for the month. And the other one, which I completely destroyed, was allegedly from NatWest saying that there was my bank account had been compromised and I needed to follow a link. The problem with that was I'm not even with NatWest. I knew it was a scam, but they are convincing enough for people to follow the links.
As a financial advisor, he's also been approached by clients asking for help in verifying some of the emails and texts they've received.
What we're saying to clients are, all of the scams rely on you not being able to ground yourself, not being able to speak to anybody about it. And there's an urgency. If you don't do this, something terrible will happen.
It used to be that we would actually say the elderly and the socially isolated would be more vulnerable. But actually, we're all socially isolated at this moment in time. So we're all vulnerable in this crisis.
So while you're protecting yourself from the virus, make sure you protect yourself from the scammers as well. Anna Youssef, ITV News.
Well, a short time ago, I spoke to Mike Haley, who leads an organisation that works to prevent fraud and financial crime, particularly online. I asked him what were the worst scams he'd heard of during the crisis.
Some of the worst ones I've seen are really exploiting those in most need. So we've seen emails and texts purporting to come from a school, pretending to be from local schools, and that's asking for bank details to be able to give people money for free school dinners, for example, which people aren't getting now. So we've seen others where people are pretending they're coming from the council and so they can deliver to people who are vulnerable, like for shopping. But again, they want bank details so that they can then take the money directly from people. We've seen others pretending to be from the government, and quite a lot of people are quite desperate at the moment around getting some money because it's been 3 or 4 weeks in since the lockdown. If you're, say, an Uber driver, if you're someone who's reliant on certain trade and you're not employed, you're desperate for some of this money. And they're saying that from HMRC, here's an emergency, £258. if only you then give your bank details.
OK, Mike, so do you have some essential rules tonight for people who are watching to spot these scams?
Yeah, I think, first of all, if anything comes out of the blue, you're not expecting it, please be very cautious. If they ask for any personal information or bank details or for control of your computer, please say no. Contact people back directly on phone numbers or emails that you found yourself. Don't click on links. Don't give out your bank details to anyone you don't know, and don't give out your personal information. It will be stolen.
OK, and I think the problem as well is many people think it won't happen to me. I'm clever. I know how computers work. I know how my mobile phone works on my iPad and my laptop. It won't happen to me, but that's just not the case, is it?
It's not. We've seen 700 new cases since the virus came into effect, and people have lost £2 million. This is people from all sorts of walks of life. At the moment, everyone's vulnerable to these type of scammers. They are more sophisticated and manipulative than ever before. They're exploiting these circumstances. Please do be careful. Don't click on links. Don't respond to these people.
If you have been the victim of a scam or a fraud, is the police the first port of call?
I'd say the two things you should do. Do call Action Fraud or report Action Fraud online. Tell them about what's happened. Secondly, if you've given your bank details out and now you're being a bit suspicious, do call your bank, tell them what's happened, and they can put in protections, and at least you might not lose money if it's gone through your bank. So, yes, call Action Fraud and notify your bank.
OK. Mike Haley, some good advice there. Thank you very much indeed for that today. Thank you.